Hey, what is up, mortals? It is JessicaGem here with a new video for you. Welcome to part number 5 of season 2 of What If Deku Met Ryoko. I just wanted to greet you guys by saying, sit back and relax, you're in for a treat. And so, we begin. The students were given a full week off after the end of the UA Sports Festival. The principals and the teachers felt that the students had all earned it. Each one of them had gone plus ultra. While most of the students were taking a much-needed break, Melissa Shield was having a meeting with All Might. The teacher and student sat sipping tea in Melissa's apartment. After a few moments, All Might spoke.
I just wanted to say that I am proud of you, Melissa. Your performance in the sports festival was outstanding.
Melissa got a sad look on her face. She replied to her master in a depressed tone. Thank you for complimenting me, Uncle Might, but you're wrong. I wasn't able to do as you asked. I didn't manage to tell the world that I am here. In fact, I would say that Midoriya, Ryoko, and Bakugo did a better job of that. I barely managed to make an impact. All Might took a long sip of his tea.
It is true that your classmates put on quite a display, and it is also true that you didn't win the event. However, your performance showed that you're getting better at controlling the immense power of One for All. That alone is worth celebrating. You are on the road to be a better hero than I am, Melissa.
Melissa's eyes became filled with tears. It took all of her emotional might to keep from breaking down. The blonde girl took a moment to gather herself before answering. Thank you, Uncle Might. You have no idea what that means to me. As the #1 hero looked at his successor, he smiled. The girl had grown so much in the time he had known her that he could barely recognize her now. Melissa had grown into a powerful young hero who could replace him as the next symbol of peace. However, this conversation was a reminder that Melissa still had a ways to go. She still had much to learn before she could truly take the reins.
Anyway, that is not why I called you here today.
It isn't?
No, I wanted to discuss that new power you manifested at the festival. Could you please explain to me what happened after the match?
Melissa got a worried look on her face. I remember passing out after the match. I then found myself in a dark place. There was a man with a shaved head. He talked like a groovy punk rocker. He explained to me that One for All was changing, that I would now have access to the past user's quirks. He told me his power was called Black Whip. For several minutes, All Might said nothing. This was all new information to him. The experienced hero was broken out of its thoughts as Melissa continued to speak. Does any of that sound familiar to you?
I am sorry to say no. This is all new to me. My master was a beautiful woman with long dark hair. Her master was a young man with short black hair. Unfortunately, I don't know anything about the users that came before them.
Well, that's not very helpful.
Listen, I'll look into this some more. For now you need to train this new power in conjunction with increasing your One for All percentage. Do that and you will become a stronger hero.
Sounds like a plan. How do we start?
All Might handed a piece of paper to Melissa. On the paper was a new workout schedule. This is the training regime that I have planned for you. We will start that after your internship.
Melissa got a quizzical look on her face. Internship?
Aizawa was going to tell all of you this when you return to class next week, but I feel you need to know now.
Why is that?
You know that the circle of people that know about my quirk and how it works is very small. I only told a few individuals about it. One of those individuals is Sir Night-Eye.
He was your sidekick in Japan, right? He acted as the brains behind your operation.
Right. I was speaking with him the other day. He was very taken with your performance in the sports festival.
Really?
Indeed. We both believe that it would be helpful if you interned under the man who trained me. His name is Gran Torino. He has agreed to take you and one other under his wing for the week of the internships.
Melissa's eyes almost glowed with excitement. Really, Uncle Might? If he trained you, then he must be amazing. I am so looking forward to this. Melissa looked over at All Might, and the man was visibly sweating and had a worried look on his face. The girl wondered what was causing such a reaction from the blonde hero. He was usually so calm and collected. Now he looked like he was about to freak out. All Might's voice had an edgy quality to it.
Well, I am sure he will be of great help to you.
The actions of her master made the aqua-eyed girl wonder what about this man, Gran Torino, could cause the normally unflappable All Might to behave so skittishly. It was starting to make her worried. Meanwhile, Izuku and Ryoko were on the training field behind Katsuhito's house. They had decided to remain on the ground for the first part of training and to not use any weapons or energy blasts. This was a match of pure fighting skill. The two friends fought back and forth for over an hour. The two were even in skill. Ryoko was more fierce, but Izuku made up for his lack of killer instinct with surgical precision. The boy knew where and when to strike for maximum effect. The two decided to take a break before continuing. Izuku made them tea and snacks, and the two sat in the open air of the backyard, enjoying the nice day. Izuku sat sipping his tea. He was enjoying the quiet until Ryoko ambushed him with a question.
Izuku, are you a Jurian?
The green teen was so surprised by the query that he swallowed his tea wrong. He then had a coughing fit as he tried to think of a response.
What makes you ask that, Ryoko?
Izuku's voice had a wary tone to it.
I've seen you do a lot of things that most humans in this world can't.
Well, this world is a strange place. It has people with all kinds of powers.
That may be true. But have you forgotten that I have life sense too? You and the old man's energies are different from everyone else I've met on this planet. You have the same life energies as those from the planet Jirai.
Izuku was silent for a long moment. He wondered if he should play the question off, but decided against it. He knew Ryoko was too clever and discerning. Any lie he told, the girl would see right through it.
It is true, sort of.
How so?
Izuku told the white-haired girl the family secret. As the green teen explained, Ryoko sat silently and unmoving.
So you are a descendant of Jirai. That makes sense.
You believe me?
Of course, I was a space pirate, remember? I've crossed paths with Jurian forces before. They had some powerful ships. Of course, I never crossed the royal family before. I'm not suicidal. But knowing that you have royal blood in your veins explains why you're so strong. It also explains why the old man wasn't surprised by me and the space cop's appearance at his house.
It feels nice to finally tell you this.
You could have told me sooner, but I understand why you didn't. After all, we had just met, and I was a space pirate.
True, but still, you've been such a good friend to me. It wasn't right of me to keep this from you.
Like I said, Izuku, no hard feelings, so stop blaming yourself.
A wide and genuine smile broke out across Ryoko's face.
Okay, no more blaming myself, I promise.
Now that's out of the way, tell me what's going on between you and Melissa.
Izuku's face broke out in a mild blush.
What do you mean by that?
It just seems to my eye that you two have been getting really close lately. You're always around her, and you seem to like her a lot. In a more than friends kind of way, if you know what I mean.
Many thoughts went through Izuku's mind. This put him into a true state of emotional confusion. He felt embarrassed to be thinking about Melissa as more than just a friend and ally in this fight to become heroes. Secondly, he felt guilty talking about this with Ryoko. He didn't know why, but he did. In a tentative voice, Izuku replied,
She is my friend and classmate. There's nothing more to it than that.
Ryoko got a doubtful look on her face.
Are you sure? It sounds like you're trying to convince yourself more than me.
Can we change the subject, please? Ryoko threw her hands up and laughed at Izuku's innocence. She then suggested that the two get back to training to spare Izuku more embarrassment.
How about we do some flight training? Your new airborne move is cool. But you could use some more work on fighting in the air.
That sounds like a good idea. Midoriya summoned his airboard in front of him and jumped onto it. He then streaked off into the air. Ryoko flew up after him, and the two engaged in a mighty aerial dogfight. Hey, just quickly interrupting today's video to let you all know that our merch store has received an update. Finally, at last, we have released our 70K merch. If you're interested in picking up some high-quality merch, the link will be in the top line of the description. I recommend hurrying though. Some items are limited and will only be available for a short amount of time. These items are also signed by James Seifer. Link in the description below, and thank you all for 70,000 subscribers. Now let's get back to the video. Meanwhile, Kurigiri appeared on a rooftop. He looked around and saw that he was in the right place. Standing at the edge of the building, with his back turned to the mist villain, was a strange-looking man. He was tall, with wild hair, and wore blades all over his body. The things that stood out most were the two katanas strapped across his back. The blades' edges were serrated, coated in dried blood. All of these things gave the man's presence a menacing feel. He looked out over the city below with a fierce glare in his eyes, paying no attention to the mist villain behind him. Kurigiri approached the man. Without turning around, the man drew one of his katana and slashed in the direction Kurigiri was coming from. He quickly used his power and created a small portal to catch the slashing attack. I did not come here to fight, Stain. The man, Stain, answered without turning around.
So you know who I am, and yet you came here. Why?
I was hoping we could discuss an alliance. I think we have a lot to offer each other.
Seeking me out shows that you have courage. Most people that do are no longer among the living. I will hear your proposition. There might be something in it for me.
Kurigiri opened a portal, and the two men walked through it. As the break came to an end, the members of 1A gathered in the classroom. Every student was commenting on how they got noticed by people on their way to school. It was a new sensation for the group. Midoriya stood up from his desk and faced his classmates. Okay, everyone, it's almost time for the bell to ring. We should all get to our seats. Mina Ashido spoke in her usual perky tone. He is right, guys. You know how Mr. Aizawa gets when we're not in our seats when the bell rings. As the students got to their seats, the door slid open forcefully. Aizawa stood in the doorway with a grumpy look on his face.
The bell has rung. You should all be in your seats.
The man looked around and was surprised to see everyone was seated and ready for class. The man did not apologize for this, however. He took his place at the lectern and started class.
Welcome back, everyone. We have a lot to get through today. First, there's something we need to address.
The stern-eyed man turned his gaze to Melissa.
Shield, what's the deal with that dark energy you used during the sports festival?
I don't know, sir. I was so caught up in the battle, I just did it. I think it's just a new aspect of my original power. Aizawa looked his student in the eye. He knew she was holding something back. However, her explanation was logical. He had seen several students' powers develop in weird and unusual ways during their training.
Okay, but we're going to talk more about this later. I will also adjust your training to help you develop this new ability. As it stands now, you could do more harm than good trying to use a power you don't understand. Learn to use it properly.
Melissa nodded. Yes, sir, I will.
Good. Now on to new business. You need code names.
The students all got excited at this information. The idea of choosing their hero names had the group in a riot. Aizawa calmed the class with a cold stare.
This is concerning the pro-hero draft we discussed before the break. Most students do not have to deal with the draft until their second or third year, but your class is different.
Aizawa reached into his pocket and pulled out a small remote. He pressed a button on the remote. This caused a hologram to appear on the board behind him.
This is the list of everyone who got an offer from a pro-hero agency. Normally the numbers are more spread out, but this is how it came down.
The class was shocked to see the list. The person that got the most offers was Shoto Todoroki. Following closely behind him were Ryoko, Bakugo, Midoriya, and Melissa. Jiro spoke up at this.
Todoroki got the most, ahead of Ryoko and Bakugo? That makes no sense.
Yaoyorozu turned to Todoroki with a smile on her face.
Congratulations, Todoroki. You must be excited.
The icy teen wore his usual blank expression as he spoke.
These offers must have something to do with my father.
Back at the front of the classroom, Aizawa called for order.
As I said, in years past, heroes only made offers to upperclassmen. By making offers to you in your first years, the heroes are betting on your potential. However, the offers can be withdrawn if their interest in you dies down before your graduation.
Toru Hagakure spoke in a knowing tone. So even though they've chosen us, we'll still have to prove ourselves.
Correct, but you will all be interning with pro heroes this next week.
Oh? We all will be interning?
Yes, these internships are why you need code names. These names will likely be temporary, but take them seriously.
Or you'll have hell to pay later. Midnight walked into the room in a sultry manner.
She is right. Midnight will have the final say over the selections. It's really not my thing.
Aizawa pulled his sleeping bag around him and fell asleep in the corner of the room. The kids all went about choosing their titles. All of the names remained the same as in canon. Midoriya even chose the name Deku because Ryoko, Melissa, and Uraraka told him it sounded like a cute name. The two major changes are the names of Melissa and Ryoko. The latter decided just to go with her name, since she couldn't think of anything cooler. Melissa decided to call herself Pillar. Ashido got a weirded out look on her face. Are you sure you want to call yourself that, Melissa? It seems kind of plain for such a bright person. I know that, but someone I love dearly once told me that the main job of a hero was to be a pillar of support for society. That line really had an impact on me, so I've decided to become that kind of hero, one that fights for a better world and helps to support society in the process. Midnight nodded in agreement.
That is a lofty goal you have for yourself, Miss Shield. That means you'll have to work hard to achieve it.
I will, ma'am. At this point, Aizawa emerged from his yellow sleeping bag. He returned to the lectern to conclude the class.
Now that you've chosen your names, it's time that you choose your internship. Those who got offers will choose from those. The rest of you will choose from a list of pre-approved agencies. Keep in mind the type of hero you want to be and choose an agency that can help you grow into that role.
Imagine you're a hero like 13. You would want to go to an agency that focuses on rescuing people and not combat.
The decision is yours. Choose your top 3 and turn in the forms by Thursday.
Zero heard this and freaked out.
We only have 3 days?
Yes, that means you should get busy.
Aizawa then walked out of the door and slid it shut behind him. All of the students then took to discussing where they were going to intern. The group was surprised to hear that Uraraka had decided to go with the battle hero Gunhead. She explained that the sports festival had shown her how weak her fighting skills were. If she planned to be a hero that rescued people, she had to be able to protect them from villains. So the pink-cheeked girl thought that learning from a combat hero would give her a different perspective. The others agreed with this idea. Meanwhile, at the back of the classroom, Ida sat stewing. He looked at the form in front of him with a murderous gaze. He then filled out the form with one name, the normal hero Manuel. The boy then got up and left the room quietly. A short while later, Midoriya, Melissa, Ryoko, and Uraraka were heading for the door.
So Deku, have you decided where you're going for the internships?
It is a hard decision. I've got several great offers.
As Midoriya slid the door open, All Might appeared in his skinny form.
I am here, in a bizarre position.
All Might, what are you doing here?
Young Midoriya and Ryoko, could I see you two for a moment?
Both Midoriya and Ryoko looked at each other with quizzical faces. The two followed the blonde man into the hallway.
I wanted to let you both know that you each got an offer. The two men that made the offers are old friends of mine.
They are? That sounds amazing!
The offer for you, young Midoriya, was from the man who trained me. He was impressed by your abilities and wanted to take you under his wing for the week.
Really? He trained you? He must be super powerful.
As for you, Ryoko, my former sidekick, Sir Night-Eye, wanted me to extend a personal offer for you to work with him.
That sounds cool, but why are they doing this, All Might? I mean, such important men must have more important things to do than babysit a couple first-year students for a week.
She has a point, even if she phrased it a little crudely. I can assure you that they mean business. As you said, both of them are very capable heroes. They wouldn't have asked for you if they didn't see your potential. I would like you two to accept their offers. Both of these men could help you grow as future heroes.
The two students looked at each other and nodded.
Okay, All Might, we'll do it. But if these two waste our time, you're never going to hear the end of it.
I'm very grateful for this opportunity, sir. Great. I'll tell them to expect you. Here are their addresses.
The tall man handed the students each a slip of paper with an address on it. He then ran off down the hall to attend to some work. In the teacher's workroom, Aizawa was going over some forms. Several of his students, including Midoriya, Ryoko, Melissa, and Ida, had already made their decisions about their internships. As the dark-haired man read over the documents, he stopped on Ida's. Aizawa thought to himself,
Ida chose the normal hero manual for his internship. He must have gotten better offers than this. The stern teacher then looked at the location. Hosu City. Don't tell me.
The next week, the students all gathered at the train station. They were all ready and eager to begin their internships. Aizawa spoke in his usual firm tone.
Mind your manners with the pro heroes, and be careful with your costumes. You don't have permission to wear them in public without a licensed hero's consent. That is all. Ida went to get on his train, a dead serious look on his face.
Midoriya, Uraraka, Melissa, and Ryoko all came up to Ida with worried looks on their faces. The four had been concerned about their bespectacled friend. Uraraka had told the other three that Ida had been called away during the sports festival. She revealed that Ingenium had been seriously injured in a villain attack. They all knew how much Ingenium meant to Ida.
Ida, is everything okay? You know you can talk to us about anything.
Izuku is right. We're your friends. Let us help you.
I agree with both of them. We've all been worried about you, Ida. You haven't been yourself. Uraraka nodded her head dramatically to show her agreement. Ida looked at the group. His eyes were glazed over with a look of unnatural calm. It gave the group goosebumps to see.
Thank you for your concern. Everything is fine.
Ida then turned around and got on his train. The group broke up and went their separate ways. Midoriya found himself standing beside Melissa. It turned out the two would be interning under the same hero, the man who trained All Might, Gran Torino. After a train ride and a short walk, the two teens stood in front of a rundown building with a lopsided sign that read, "Welcome." "This must be the place," Melissa said in a worried tone.
It's not the kind of place you would think to find the guy who trained the #1 hero.
definitely not what I pictured. The two climbed the front steps and opened the door.
Hello? Is anyone here? It is Izuku Midoriya and Melissa Shield from UA.
The room was dark. As the room was illuminated, a horrifying sight was revealed. Laying on the floor of the apartment was the body of a little old man. Surrounding his body was a pool of red liquid that looked like blood. Midoriya's face became a mask of shock. In a panicked voice, he screamed,
Oh no! He's dead!
Just then, the little old man popped up.
I'm alive!
The old man spoke in a crazed voice. This made Midoriya flip out even more.
Ah! He's alive!
Thank you all for sticking around, and I hope that you've enjoyed. Before you leave, we would just like to let you know that We the Celestials has many other channels for your entertainment and viewing purposes. All the information you'll need is right below here in the description, so feel free to check out all of the other incredible projects our team creates. Secondly, on behalf of We the Celestials, I'd like to thank everyone involved in the production of today's awesome content. Their details will be in the description below. That's all for today's video, so farewell and have a divine day.